Friends and folks, welcome to the Kaiju Lounge. Woo. That's great. I thought the music was supposed to stop playing in my ears. What's happening? There we go. Okay. Hope everyone's doing tonight. I see Adam Winters in the chat. Kamekaze. Absolutely. We're going to get right into it, guys. We got a great show happening tonight. For sure. I got an interview with Kamekaze, the brain, the man, the developer behind one of the coolest fan games, one of the most legit feeling fan games I've ever gotten to try out. TMNT Cross Justice League Turbo. Amazing fighting game. We talk all about how he and his team built this up, how crazy various people were who jumped in on this project with him. Real cool stuff. We got a good long interview with him later on the show. We're also going to be talking a lot about the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal. Apparently, that is set to close this week, finally, after 2 years almost of just this nonstop back and forth. Will they, won't they? This is the Ross and Rachel of the gaming generation. They finally got together. And we're going to take a look at the story so far of how we got to this point. I'm also going to play a little bit of TMNT Cross Justice League Turbo. I can't promise I'll do it any justice because I am trash at most fighting games, but it's a fun game. So I'll be able to show off a little bit of that towards the end of the stream. And of course, we got the last week in gaming to go over. A lot of big stuff happened this past week. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. I saw this. You'll notice there it is. Still got a bit of a cough in me. Got a bit of a nose. You'll see me doing this a lot because I can feel a little post-nasal drip. God, still got this cold I'm coming off of, which is a pain in the ass. Big news before I had hopped on. I don't know if people saw this. John Riccitiello, the CEO of Unity, everyone's favorite game engine, the man behind all the things that we've been railing against for the past 2 weeks. He's been the butt of many of my jokes for being an absolute dickwad. He's leaving. He's leaving Unity. This literally happened like an hour ago. That's This Week in Gaming. I don't even have a This Week in Gaming segment. I was going to do Last Week in Gaming, but I felt like it needed to be said because my biggest video right now is me making fun of Unity on the channel. And so kind of a bit of kismet. I like to think that maybe, just maybe, I had a part in it. In which case, gamers, you're welcome. A little throat coat tea. We're all set, guys. Without further ado, like I said, great show. Kamekaze will be on later. We'll talk with him about all his stuff. So much, but it is time now, of course, for Last Week in Gaming. Gotta say, it's been a rough couple of weeks for the gaming industry. Multiple companies have been letting go workers due to poor decisions of their CEOs, and the world of AAA gaming appears to be collapsing under their own overhyped expectations. Meanwhile, in Poland, CD Projekt Red is having the time of their life. First of all, Cyberpunk 2077 has surpassed 24 million units sold. This is nuts. This outpaces their previous game, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I gotta say, it's a far cry from its launch when it was so bad it was delisted from the PlayStation Store. A spokesperson for Arcane Studios said, well, we could do that too if we wanted to, we just don't want to. They also announced that the company will partner with Anonymous Content to produce a live-action project set in the Cyberpunk universe. Now, Anonymous Content may be best known for projects like True Detective, Mr. Robot, and of course, Revenant. So expect a real light, easygoing piece there. It's a good thing everything is going so well for CDPR because, let's be honest, Phantom Liberty, great, awesome game. It's not perfect. This past week, players spotted a bug in Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty update where police are driving down in a wrecked husk of a car. The police seem severely underfunded, so expect Cyberpunk to be banned in Florida. I think somewhere out there, Eric Adams just felt a shiver down his spine. Activision Blizzard is trying to remove leaked videos of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 gameplay from the internet after some footage popped up online. I suspect, honestly, they'll be successful since Activision Blizzard is pretty good at sweeping things under the rug. Blizzard's Battle.net went down this week, making many of their online games completely unplayable. It's been down for over a year, said Overwatch 2 fans. And because I refuse to only make one Redfall joke in an episode, Redfall finally released a 60 FPS patch for their game, because that was the reason why nobody wanted to play it. And that's not even hyperbole, honestly. Literally, reports have shown that Redfall's player count has dipped to double even single digits, which begs the question, if a tree falls in the woods and no one is around to hear it, did it happen in 60 FPS? I gotta say, it may sound like I'm picking a little bit on Microsoft unfairly, and that's because I am. I got a whole segment about it up next. Elsewhere, Larian Studios have somehow Mr. Magoo'd themselves into the best game of the year. Because every time Baldur's Gate 3 does something their player base likes, it turns out it was a bug. First, it was the bug that made everyone hornier than a high school theater program. Then this week it was His Majesty, a cat who allegedly used the wrong model. It was not supposed to be the hairless sphinx you see here. Larian issued a patch to fix the cat to his long hair state, and the fans were pissed. So they reverted the decision to allow His Majesty to be hairless once again, making Baldur's Gate the first game so horny it decided to show shaved pussy. Assassin's Creed Mirage launched on October 5th, and before its release, the official Twitter account had requested that fans not share spoilers online. Apparently, they were worried fans would ruin the experience for others. And at only about 20 to 30 hours to beat, this is the first time in a while Ubisoft had to worry that fans might actually beat one of their games. Last week, we announced that Fortnite Studio and our future home in the Matrix, Epic Games, laid off about 16% of their studio. Well, it seems the fun continued as Director of Publishing Strategy Sergei Galyonkin, I probably butchered that, has departed the company. He states, "I plan to remain in the gaming industry. I also hope to be more vocal now that I don't have to worry about PR department knocking on my DMs." Yes! Go off, King. That has all the sass of a Bravo reunion show. Excuse me. Expect to see Sergey on the next season of The Real Housewives of Slappy Shores. Now, I'm sure there's plenty to dish about, as Epic Games CEO and man far too excited to tell you about his model train set Tim Sweeney recently claimed that he was only aware there were financial problems in the company 10 weeks ago. Seriously, this is not who we need in charge, a man who treats his company the way I treated my bank account in college. It appears they have found other avenues to bring back revenue, like not paying royalty payments to their artists. Speaking of Fortnite doing irreparable harm, have you noticed kids are spending too much time playing Fortnite and not enough time talking about how cool fossil fuels are? Well, Shell has, as they recently released a Fortnite world and start paying Twitch streamers and outlets like IGN to promote the map, because until now the internet was only a figurative cesspool. Titled Shell's Ultimate Road Trips, the map sees players driving between locations using a Shell station as a hub. Occasionally, they need to fill up on Shell's V-Power Nitro Plus fuel in order to navigate the obstacles of the world. I think Shell might be highly misjudging how much teens like going on road trips. The one thing they get right, though, is that V-Power Nitro Plus sounds like a gamer energy drink that sponsors Twitch streamers, so they haven't fully missed the mark. V-Power Nitro Plus, enough energy to destroy the world and your insides. Now, someone really does have to stop Shell, though, because if they keep that up, we won't have a metaverse to leave behind for our children. 7 former Ubisoft employees, including a former chief creative officer and editorial vice president, were detained by French police as part of an investigation into allegations of sexual assault and harassment. This comes after Ubisoft made a deal with Microsoft over UK cloud streaming rights, going to show that Microsoft certainly has a type. Elon, my mom thinks I'm cool, Musk tested out X's upcoming video game live streaming feature for the first time, because whatever coke-fueled binge he had this idea during hasn't quite ended yet. The test consisted of him playing Diablo 4's Tier 100 Nightmare Dungeon, which is what he calls a stroll through the Twitter office. I mean, honestly, it's ironic that he plays Diablo on the platform since it's a hellscape already. Now, in order to troubleshoot X's streaming capabilities, Musk made a burner account with the handle CyberGamer420, which was also his live journal for posting dashboard confession lyrics. Now, the question is, how did the stream actually go?
You can DM from one account to another. I only have 2 accounts. My Elon's account, maybe Smurf 9000 for testing new stuff.
It's not the prettiest. Though I will say, in his defense, I can tell he was playing Diablo, so far better than I expected. Also, like, real quick, is that a giant candle behind him? This man has enough money to trash Twitter like Motley Crue in a hotel room, and he can't afford an Elgato key light? He looks like he's at a strip mall massage parlor, which honestly, he also looks like someone who would pay for a happy ending, so take that as you will. Next up, former President Donald J. Trump was brought into New York for his $250 million fraud. What is this? Because I'm trying to limit the political thing. Okay. Is that a gaming laptop? Apparently, one of Trump's attorneys, Alina Habba, came to court with this, a Asus ROG gaming laptop. Given that she recently spoke about the Attorney General the way a 14-year-old COD player talks about anything, this isn't too surprising. It may help destroy democracy, but can it run crisis? Fans have gotten pretty mad at this series formerly known as FIFA, as EA Sports FC 24's loot boxes are stirring up a bit of controversy in the community. Now, apparently the $30 Elite Opener Pack went live, and the rate of lower quality cards and duplicates have led to fans complaining about the egregious pay-to-win model. Honestly, I don't know what everyone's complaining about. Paying for an all-star roster makes this the most realistic soccer game ever. Now, of course, I'm sure you're aware, we are in Halloween season, which means you've probably got a friend that is spending far too much time on something people will forget about by November. However, if you're in Benicia, California, not too far from my hometown, actually, those friends might be Hannah Lee and Catherine Pervin, owners of One House Bakery and the creators of this monstrosity. You can't tell, this is a clicker from The Last of Us made of bread, and it took them over 400 hours to put this together. Like I said, honestly, the most impressive part about this is they were able to do what my doctor couldn't and scare me into a diet. Now, speaking of Last of Us raking in the bread, yes, I'm proud I came up with that, and no, I'm not proud I said it. News of The Last of Us Part 2 remaster has made the rounds after Naughty Dog lead outside artist added it to his LinkedIn profile, confirming what we all suspected: Naughty Dog is never making another type of game again. Of course, Naughty Dog joins Telltale this week as another one of the who knows how many companies that had to lay off staff recently. In Naughty Dog's case, it was approximately 25 developers, most of who were from the quality assurance team. Because if there's one thing AAA developers don't care about, it's quality assurance. Or really just quality in general. Lastly, Nintendo announced that online play for the 3DS and Wii U will turn off next year. This is sad. This is actually really sad. Since honestly, you'll no longer be able to play games like Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, or Super Smash Bros. Online. Instead, you'll have to play Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, or Super Smash Bros. Online. Seriously, though, it sucks to see support for these systems go away, especially in the name of game preservation and learning how a game was intended to be played at the time of its release. So we're all out there praying for the completionist's safety in whatever video he happens to do next. Guys, that was the last week in gaming. I'm going to take a quick refill on my tea, a little bit of a break. And when we come back, you better believe we're taking a look. We're diving in to all the Microsoft Activision Blizzard drama that has gone on, that has led us to the possible closing of this deal this week. Exciting stuff. Stick around. I'll be right back. All right, guys, we're settling back in. I'm feeling cozy. I'm feeling toasty. Got some technical things on my time side to fix, but all otherwise pretty good. For over 2 years, the bog of eternal stench that is Activision Blizzard has dominated gaming news sites, podcasts, and made mainstream headways to the point that even my mother has asked me about it. Granted, not without once mentioning that real adults don't play video games, but she's aware, and that's the point. Now that the looming shadow of the Microsoft acquisition may finally dissipate this week, I thought it would be a good idea to reminisce about the good times, look back at the history, and wonder, how on earth does Bobby Kotick still have a job? Here is the story so far. Long before we get to the deal, it's important to look at the events preceding it. In the summer of 2021, thank you, Psyche Blue. Summer of 2021, California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing, whose acronym sounds like Batman punching Gorilla Grodd, filed a lawsuit claiming that the top executives of Blizzard Entertainment and its owner, Activision Blizzard, were either aware of or involved in sexual harassment and gender-based discrimination. This was surrounded by numerous women who came forward and told their stories of how executives in the company treated women the way DeviantArt treats Overwatch characters. Poorly, over-sexualized, and nothing I can share on this show. This includes Blizzard's president, former CTO, senior creative directors, and many more. But all the paperwork led to one man at the top knowing about, ignoring, and perpetuating the harassment. Activision Blizzard CTO and Zelda Wand of Gamelon character Bobby Kotick. Now, Bobby would spend the next couple of months apologizing for some allegations, including threatening to have his assistant killed, but largely denying the bulk of them and blaming union organizers for trying to destabilize the company. None of this is surprising. I mean, look at him. Of course he's a prick to people. He looks like the kind of guy who masturbates to pictures of Ari Gold as part of his morning routine. Now, deny he may have done, but stock prices crashed and the company agreed to settle with both the Securities and Exchange Commission as well as the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission for a combined $53 million. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, it establishes two factors. One, Bobby Kotick has a special place in hell waiting for him. And if anyone was going to swoop in to buy this company, best to do it during its downfall. On January 18th, 2022, Xbox announced that their intent to buy Activision Blizzard at a whopping $68.7 billion, making it the biggest deal in gaming's history. Keep in mind, before this, Take-Two had bought your parents' favorite Facebook developer, Zynga, at about $12.7 billion. Now, to call this a shocker was an understatement. This would give Phil Spencer control over Warcraft, Call of Duty, Diablo, and Blackthorn, which is a much better game than people give it credit for. Now, Phil was already claiming that they would continue to sell some games on PlayStation, but that plenty of the games would become first-party exclusives. This deal would make Microsoft the third largest gaming business behind Tencent and Sony, which, by the way, are they not already? You're a console maker. Get your shit together, Microsoft. Of course, the big elephant in the boardroom was Bobby Kotick. He was telling people that he was all for this acquisition, but the truth is he lost all bargaining power to keep control the moment Kappa Beta Small Dick took over his HR department. Now, would he keep his job given the allegations? Microsoft initially said yes, but it was later revealed that he would only stay until the transition was done. I mean, the man is like herpes. It's hard to look at, and even if it looks like you got rid of it, it's still there. Now, April 1st, 2022, several months after the announcement, U.S. Senators Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Sheldon Whitehouse, and the official politician of white male hacky sack players everywhere, Bernie Sanders, sent a letter to the Federal Trade Commission outlining the concerns about the deal, especially as it relates to Activision Blizzard employees, given all the allegations against the company. In retaliation, Phil and Bobby sent a letter back saying, "Lol, good April Fools, guys, that's hilarious." September 1st, a war of words begins. Phil Spencer confirms that PlayStation gamers will in fact still get Call of Duty on the same launch day as Microsoft. Then PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan responds with a statement claiming that after almost 20 years of Call of Duty on PlayStation, their proposal was inadequate on many levels and failed to take account the impact on our bottom line. I mean gamers. Sorry. At this time, UK's Competition and Markets Authority, or CMA, as I don't want to say that every time, also began expressing concerns. Microsoft attempted to fight these back, claiming Sony was too big to fail, and that Xbox will ship Call of Duty to Sony's consoles as long as there is a PlayStation to ship to. Wow. Oh, that sounds like a mafia threat. Yeah, great gaming system you got here. Same if something bad happened to it. Now, Phil Spencer did make good on his promise by offering Sony a 10-year deal to keep the Call of Duty on PlayStation, 7 years more than the current 3-year deal they had in place. Now, remember those four politicians? Well, their letter to the FTC paid off as on December 8th, the Federal Trade Commission released a statement claiming that the deal could harm competition in the gaming space by denying rivals access to popular content. Excuse me, they also cited Microsoft's previous acquisition of ZeniMax Media, which has kept games like Starfield and Redfall off of rival consoles, though that last argument might not do them any favors. In the beginning of 2023, we saw more pushback from the CMA with concerns about the price increases in games, fewer choices in the industry, and less innovation for gamers. Now, one particular area was cloud gaming. Microsoft accounts for about 60 to 70% of the cloud gaming market, the only thing Xbox has really been beating Sony and Nintendo on, and that making Call of Duty exclusively available on their service could make them unstoppable. Now, we do recognize that Call of Duty isn't the only game on the line here, right? Is no one concerned about Lost Vikings? Now, given the pushback, Microsoft was ready to counter. They made a 10-year deal to bring all of its PC games to NVIDIA GeForce, the other big cloud-based system, as well as a 10-year deal to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo as well, similar to what they gave Sony. Now, this promise was to provide the same features and full content parity to the Nintendo Switch as seen on Xbox hardware. Good luck with that. This led NVIDIA to walk away from the opposing side, as well as the CMA pulling a Shawn Michaels from Sony, saying that they no longer believe the deal would harm the competition in the way they once did in the console market. However, they were still happy and blocking the deal as it relates to cloud gaming in the UK. Other regulatory bodies like Japan, Brazil, South Africa, and more gave their approval to the merger, and Sony and the FTC's argument began looking a lot weaker. So weak, in fact, that federal judge Corley, that's what I say Cooley, it's Corley, ruled against the FTC, primarily claiming that the record evidence shows that more people than ever were about to get access to your favorite overly aggro Twitch streamer's primary game. Now, the FTC still had time to appeal, and they did, but the well was running dry. FTC Chair Linda Khan was coming under fire from politicians and gamers alike for wasting time on a losing battle. And excuse me, but like as a side note, the FTC putting up a fight was absolutely necessary. It's a scare tactic, making the process slow and trotting so that if a company was going to try for a monopoly, and yes, Microsoft would in fact go for a monopoly if they could, just like any other corporation, they will at least have to think twice about it and the time and the money it will take to pull that off. This process is supposed to be difficult. Nonetheless, all that was left was the CMA's concerns on cloud gaming. Microsoft had to restructure the current deal to help remedy the situation, and were increasingly at a loss to do so. But, much like pro wrestling, you can always shake things up with a good run-in. Enter Ubisoft, whose cloud service Ubisoft Plus already included heavy hitters like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. On August 22nd, Microsoft announced that it would sell the cloud streaming rights in the UK to the French company. This would apply to all games released in the next 15 years, and that the rights would be in perpetuity. By God, it was a slobber knocker. 1, 2, 3, lol, Cena wins, and the crowd goes home, with the deal set to go through this week. Did everyone get what they want? No, not really. But that's the nature of compromise, right? Like, Microsoft wanted a no-strings-attached sale to go through quickly, netting them as much money off these IPs as possible. Instead, they got a slow, trotting snail's race that ended with some chunks getting cut off so they can fit this through like a Japanese game show version of Saw. Sony wanted to see the deal dead in the water, mainly because they're just mad they didn't think of it first. Instead, they get to keep Call of Duty on their console, knowing full well it's only because the competition lets them. The roles were reversed, you better believe Sony wouldn't have said a damn thing about unfair competition. The FTC wanted this blocked because they may be the closest to actually wanting to protect the consumer. Instead, they waged losing war after losing war and just fed the right-wing politicians looking to protect CEOs. And I want to kick Bobby Kotick in the dried prunes 390 times, one for each million that he's about to receive in this windfall when this thing goes through. Instead, I have to settle for making him the butt of every joke I can on my tiny little internet talk show while he crawls back into the trillion-dollar hovel like the Rankin Bass hobbit that he is. And that's where we are with that. Guys, stick around, getting more tea. I'm clearing up my throat a little bit, but most importantly, up next, we have an interview with the man behind one of the greatest fan games in the fighting game community, TMNTXJL Turbo. It's a mouthful, but Kamekaze has plenty to talk about. In the meantime, Psycho Blue SFXT, I see you there. Keep him sleeping with the fishes, but don't you start sleeping away on me. We will be right back. That's a transition for you. My guest tonight is the developer behind a fan game so good you'd think the license was official. It combines one of the most beloved Super Nintendo fighting games with the best fighting game Blizzard could come up with. You can download it now to play it for free, and there's an amazing documentary by Phil Nolan on the Hold Back to Block YouTube channel. Here is a quick look.
This game was called a ROM hack so many times that at first I was bothered by it, but then I took it as like a badge of honor because they're like, there's no way this thing's on Mugen. There's no way. It feels too good. There's no character in this game that feels like another character in this game. I made a few changes with World, which he's entirely different. The only move that he has is the same, is his projectile and his shoulder charge. Everything else was completely made up. He was not a grappler. Cheetah kind of feels like this Felicia-like character, because that's my way of saying, Darkstalker fans, I see you. This game rewards you in a lot of ways for finding a way you want to play it and basically respecting it with your time. I made sure that there was defensive rewards and offensive rewards in every facet of the work.
Please welcome to the show the man behind TMNT Cross Justice League Turbo, Kamekaze. How you doing, man?
Hello. I am doing pretty good this fine evening.
Beautiful. And enjoying the late night, a good cup of tea, relaxing wind down.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm sure you've played plenty of both the games that your game here is inspired by. Number one, should Blizzard try to make another fighting game?
I think that Blizzard is a very interesting company that's made a lot of interesting decisions. And I think it's for the best interest of everyone that they stay in the lane that works best for them. And leave the fighting game to the fighting game companies.
Not a better diplomatic answer has ever been given. Yeah, absolutely. Could not agree more.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this game, because I'll say it was your whoever was running your social for the game had followed me, and I was like, this seems interesting. I checked it out, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I grew up with the Super Nintendo. I played plenty of Street Fighter, but I am in no ways a fighting game guy. I wouldn't know a combo breaker from my ass from my elbow. But I was able to jump into this game and have a ton of fun with it. What is like your secret sauce here for making a game like this with a pre-existing style and making it how we remember fighting games for that era being, not necessarily how fighting games for that era were, if that makes sense?
So going into it, the primary thing that I wanted to target was TMNT Tournament Fighters players, because this was more or less a gift to that community, because I was like, until recently, like TMNT has kind of had a renaissance of sorts, and I love to see it, because literally when I first started the game, a few months later, they were announced for Injustice 2, and I was kind of worried, but fortunately they didn't bother me. But I was like, this community has not gotten really a lot of anything in the department of competitive games. There's been your standard beat 'em ups for the GBA. There's been some mobile stuff. There's been even some weird plug and plays with some actually decent sprite work. Like, some of them are pretty good. Shout out to Dino, please, for streaming that. But I decided that I wanted to take something and make it feel the way that I felt like it should. And the idea was something that I and the person running the socials for the game just kind of spitball. Like, the first thing we thought about was Omega Shredder. And that was how we bridged the gap between DC and TMNT, because we were like, okay, here's Omega Shredder. His whole deal is Shredder's always like souped up as a bad guy in every game. And he has some weird MacGuffin for a reason why. I said, well, in this case, Darkseid just decides to revive him because lore-wise, he's dead at this point, because Cyber Shredder is actually an android in that Tournament Fighters game. And I was like, well, now he's back. And that's why he looks as disheveled and rusty and ugly and dead as he is. And he's kind of like the first bridge of the game. And of course, there's more spoilers in story mode that explains why there is a fifth turtle and all of that. And if you shout out to Turtlepedia as well, if you're familiar with that, you'll know why that happened as well. But ultimately, the sauce was I wanted to connect Tournament Fighters players to a new game, and I wanted to make it simple enough for people to just jump in, and even if they've never really played fighting games before, I wanted to make sure there was enough for them to do, and that's why there's so much single player content, so much things to find by accident. There are like so many hidden bosses, and I keep adding them and not telling anybody. And, like when you find them, like I wanted to harken back to the days where like you had your notes and you're telling your friends at the playground like, oh yeah, well I found this character that doesn't even belong in this game, and they're like, no way, you're lying. But you know, people used to do that. So I like the idea of creating a mythos behind this game, and ultimately making it where by the time you've got done with all the single player modes, hey, you're a fighting game player now. You know how to play the game. Go ahead and go and play people. So it's like before you know it, like kind of like I like what Street Fighter 6 did, especially. That was the same idea I had in mind of just like slowly introducing concepts to them. So that way, by the time they're done with everything, they're like, oh, well, I guess I'm okay with fighting games. And then I was like, I want the old and the new. I don't want the old people to be left out, myself included. We are old. I'm sorry. But I also wanted to say, hey, new folks, here's a thing you can do. So just stuff like that. I mean, this is like my 5th game that I've actually made. And it's kind of crazy that this is the one that blew up, to be honest.
I mean, it blew up because you did a great job making it feels cohesive. And I think, you know, you have a great quote in the documentary where you basically put Mugen on blast. And it's one of those things where I've seen a lot of these Mugen games and it's like nothing feels like it belongs together. There's like flashy 32-bit fire effects with a 16-bit sprite character and a hand-drawn character all going at it. Like, yeah, that can be fun. I get it. But like, there's something to a cohesive feeling across all assets, the music, the character work, the way that everyone's fights feel and move. Like, I think there's a lot to that. And I think that's, that goes kind of a long way here. You mentioned that this was a love letter to sort of the Turtles fan base. Was the idea to bring in DC always part of it, or was that kind of like you want to pad out with something else fun, sort of after the fact?
Yeah. So because of the fact that we had Omega Shredder, and like here's the thing. So Zool, which is a person who's also behind the Ultra Clay Fighter hack, shout out to him. He had put out a combo video about Task Force, and that was like my 2nd time seeing it, and my 1st time seeing it with any sort of competency behind it. And I was like, so before, so I was like, this game sure does exist. It's one of the games I've ever seen. And when I saw what you could do with it, I was like, that's pretty cool. So what I did first was I gathered all the assets from the game using ZSNES because, of course, I did. And
yeah,
I first made the characters available for Mugen because my whole deal is that I've made the most characters than anyone on this planet. I don't really know why I did that anymore, but the current number is around 165, somewhere in that area.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Yes.
And the main thing was that I was like quality and quantity instead of quality over quantity. But I made them for General Mugen first, and it has 3 separate styles. It has the original gameplay, which even in the README is like, don't actually play this. I mean, if you want to, you could. Then there's like a mixture between old and new, and then there's finally one where there's like traditional supers involved. So that was setting up the idea of how the supers were going to eventually be in this crossover game. And a lot of the supers are the same, even. Just a little bit of tweaks here and there. So that was me setting up the idea of it. And I put out a teaser video that just had all of the DC characters, before I even made the game, doing the super showcase of original DC character games from Task Force. And there was a bit where, like, right in the end, there was a little sliver of the title of what I was doing next. To this day, no one picked it up. So, just to say, here's what I'm about to do. So, to set the scene, this was 2017, all the way back in September. And
wow.
We got this channel in the Discord. I was invited to the TMNT Discord. He gave us a channel, and the rest was history. And the first 2 characters was Leonardo and Batman. You can see those videos right now on my channel to see what the game used to look like before somebody saved me with good art. Because before that, it was all my work. And I sure do know what colors are. That's about as good as art as I am.
Just, it's a start. It's a pure 1st grade knowledge. You can begin with that. It's wonderful. That's let's talk about the art here, because You both in game and out, you have been able to bring on some amazing artists as part of this project. Talk a little bit about that. Are there like a couple of legendary names who've worked in the industry? What were some of the big ones that like popped you, that like you found out they were interested and willing to help out, and that just like blew you away?
So the credits for that goes to our graphic lead, known by What's Going On. He is always full of surprises. It's the best way I can describe how he does things. To this day, I have no idea how he was able to get in contact with any of these people, how he was able to get them involved with a fan project like this, how he sold it to them for them to not leave them on red. And the first big one that happened was Nona of SNK fame, whose most famous artwork can be seen in KOF 2000, 2001, and of course SVC Chaos. That guy. So he surprised me in December of 2018 with artwork, and like the very first artwork of the game, and it was gorgeous. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? How?" And because of that, all of a sudden we had this thing that the kids call clout. And when other famous former artists, musicians saw that, oh, I remember Nona, I used to work with him. Well, now I want in. Oh, I remember Tate Norio. Well, I want in too. So it's like at a certain point, it kind of started to become a pissing contest of old SNK and former other developers and artists and musicians who were like, well, I gotta get on this up there. And like I haven't worked with them in forever. So it just kind of became a waterfall moment where one person dipped their toe in and it said, water's fine, everybody. And then it just happened. And at the end of the day, I'm just like, this is for like a silly little fan game though. This is just a little thing that I threw together. What's happening? Why? What are you doing here? Why are you here? Thank you so much, but I'm very confused. And that was pretty much my entire thought process every time I received more quality art and music, what have you. Even the sound effects that were given to us was made by the same person who also made the No Stage remix that is on one of the stages in the game. He started off by giving us the sound effects that you hear when characters do supers. That's him. And he also made that song. I believe he made a couple other songs too. But hearing Asuka's remix like that, well, for starters, people was like, well, where is she? Because she's not even in the game. And I was like, well, okay, you see, I couldn't make her work at first because she just didn't have enough to work with. And of course, there's the April question, because people just think, oh, you just plastered April on Asuka. That was deliberate, yes. And it wasn't my idea. It was actually Konami's, because if you look at Asuka and April's sprites, they are very similar to each other. And a friend of mine who was going to make her sprites first gave me a comparison of their stances and just put April's clothes on Asuka, and it just looked like April. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And there's a GIF image that I give the people anytime they ask about it. And I was like, what happened to Asuka? Why is April here? And I would just show them that image, and they was like, oh, okay. But then at the end of the day, Asuka is like not really a TMNT character. So I was like, she doesn't really need to be here because she's kind of like a Konami OC, which, of course, the artist who made that character is part of the reason why she's in the game now. Because he was like, hey, put my girl back in.
Wow.
He also was responsible for Karai. So that was kind of like a parlay to say, well, if you want Karai, I'm going to need you to put Asuka back. And I was like, okay, fine.
Put in my brainchild. Let me have my girl back in this. That's wild.
Yeah, then we get a whole other conversation about Martial Masters, because that was also his game, which Konami kind of butchered. There's a whole video where we talk about it on my channel. Where I interview the guy with his translator, and he tells us all about Martial Masters and what happened and why it wasn't the game that people thought it could have been. Either way, like I said, the fact that I know these people now, the fact that I talk to them, the fact that they know me, I don't really have an explanation. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And if people thought I was lying, I would completely understand. But I got the chat log, so
the paper trail's there. That's it's so funny, because I truly for the longest time thought that Asuka was just a bad translation of April O'Neil, that something got messed up between us and Japan, and that that just messed that up. That was meant to be April for the longest time.
Well, the thing is, like, people have this prevailing theory that at one point in time she was meant to be a tie-in to the third TMNT movie, and there is some truth to that, but not
Really?
like entirely. Like there was the fact that at one point in time her name was Mitsu, which was more related to the character in TMNT 3, which is the third movie in the franchise. It's the best thing I can use to describe it.
It's a movie
if that ever
exists.
was the case, Konami quickly, and I mean quickly, according to the guy who told us himself, changed their mind on that and just brought him in and said, okay, we need to make her a different character. We need you to draw these sprites up. We need you to make it happen. So that's pretty much Asuka's whole history.
I definitely saw that movie in theaters as a kid, and I definitely don't remember a single aspect of it. Nothing has stuck with me.
What is that like? I wish I could do that way, but man, it's just there's so many scenes that live in my head rent free.
Liquor and a lot of pot helps. You've made, so go back to something you said. You've made in your storied career here. You said over 160 characters, right?
Yes,
in general
I've been
fighting
around
games.
For,
That's
it's been 17 years. So.
Wow. So what is the secret to making them play and feel differently? I will say, like, as someone, again, I don't necessarily have the language to describe it, but I know when I'm picking up this game that, like, Rat King and Flash and Kirby all play differently. So, like, what is the secret when you have, especially with a game like this, when you have, even just with this base roster, how do you find that way to make each character feel unique? What goes into that process?
So when I came into approaching every character, for the most part, all the Task Force characters, I just kind of, if their move sets weren't interesting, I just kind of made my own base with the sprites available. Because Despero, spoilers, is not a grappler in that game. He is a Batman knockoff. That is what he is. So him and Batman almost have the exact same move set. But you would not know that if you played my game first. You feel cheated if you went to Task Force.
That feels like a wild choice for the way Despero looks. Like, there are other DC characters you could have pulled and done that the Ryu Ken with on Batman there instead.
Yeah, they love the idea of a slow, leaping dive kick attack because Batman and him both have it. But for whatever reason, his regular throws just look like a command grab. So I was like, well, why not make it one? He gets a big backbreaker. That's cool as hell. So I was like, okay, I know the archetypes I want to cover. I know that I want, like, when I look at a character, I'm like, here's what I envision for them. So with the TMNT cast, I tried to not change a whole lot, but I did try to make some balanced decisions that made sense. Like, for example, Wars, like, now he's a menace. Most people consider him a menace instead of a menace to society. He's just flat out a menace, you know, because he's very scary. A lot of his changes just make sense, and he's really cool. Rat King was a character who was famously, like, had very little to work with. So we had, I had another friend of mine come up and help me with a lot of new frames. And also we kind of shared a couple with the TMNT Championship Edition hack that's going on. Some of the stuff they had going on, we shared assets with them too. So, you know, they got their own thing too that I'm going to shill in a second. But so because of that, it led me to have a lot of animations for Rat King that made him feel better. I was like, I don't want him to just be a grappler. I was like, I want him to feel like Alex with more emphasis on brawling. And that's why you see he has a couple Alex ideas in him, especially a stand hard kick is kind of a dead giveaway. So that kind of thing, I was like, I want him to just hit really hard. And at one point in time, his drop kick was almost the same way that Raiden's was, but I didn't like it. So I just kind of made it a command. But stuff like that I was like, okay, I know what I want to change. Here's how I'm going to do it. With Karai, because of the fact that she was initially going to stay a boss, I just kind of went balls to the walls on her. So now it's just kind of been a journey of trying to figure out how to make her fair. Because even though she's been rebalanced twice now, she's still kind of not that fair. Even if her health is Shinakuma tier. So I just kind of was like, okay, well, I want to flesh out what they have. Because Asuka, like I said, she didn't have much to work with, but we got new frames for her. And now she's a lot more of a ninja, an aspect, like a lot more ninja things she does. It's really neat. So the TMNT side was a lot easier because I didn't have to work as hard, but I did have to get, like, I wanted to make their moves feel different and come up with ideas of what the basic combos look like, but I didn't want to repeat myself because you have Leonardo's basic kit and you have Raphael's basic kit, and they almost look identical until you realize how they're ending and like what the resources are. So like stuff like that, like and with the DC side, I was just like, okay, well, Superman, he's all right, he can stay. Aquaman, we're gonna make some changes. Flash, we're gonna make a little bit of changes. Like just stuff so I can be like, well, who's not represented on TMNT side? And with Zoom, which he was one of the first characters I pitched for the sequel in the first place. I was like, Flash is considered the best in the game. How do I make a character that just completely pisses off that character? And that's when I came up with Zoom. So everything that Flash does, Zoom just kind of gets around it. And even though Zoom's not the best character by any stretch, he is absolutely a horrible matchup for Flash. So like that's my mission accomplished, if you will. So a lot of it just kind of came down to the fact that I've played several fighting games in my life. I've studied them. I broke them down to the point where I've decompiled some just to understand how they tick and why the decisions were made that way. Like a friend of mine and I coming up with the input interpreter for the fact that it just matches CPS2 hardware, like the down to the hardware exact bit definition. All of that's there. Like that was something that was important to me, and that's why the game feels as good as it does. Because like I said, it's just Capcom's. Jesus Zilla is the mastermind behind that. He's also the reason why we saw Sagat's crouching hard punch in CVS2 for the first time with the hitboxes. Like for years, people speculated that it was just a monster, but it really wasn't that bad. Like so, I like digging in and seeing how things are because it doesn't look as scary when you kind of just look behind the curtain. And that's why I wanted to have all these tools there for people in training mode too. Like I'm not afraid of my hitboxes. Look at them, see what you can do. Right. I'm not afraid of the advantage. Look at it, see what you can do, like stuff like that. So, because I've made so many characters, it taught me what I need to do and what I don't need to do. Like best practices and what I actually can get away with versus what I think is cool, but actually everyone else hates. So stuff like that.
When you're not like embroiled in this, what are the games, especially the fighting games? What are the fighting games that you're playing? Playing a lot of any new stuff? Or are you still sticking with the kind of the older era arcade 16-bit kind of things?
I wish I had more time to play fighting games, but the thing
wish I had
is,
more time to play any games.
I'm not
I hear
working,
you.
Like shout out to the Steam Deck. It's the only way I play anything outside of my office because this is where my computer is. It's downstairs. Yep. So, I did get to play Street Fighter 6 for a little bit. I did get to play Type Lumina for a little bit. I used to be really big into Under Night. I love that game. Waldstein is my guy. Chaos is my other guy. So, I mean, I kind of dipped my toe around. You know, I messed with Street Fighter 5 just enough for me to look at it and understand that mistakes were made. And I used to be really big into Street Fighter 4, obviously. But my favorite game, without question, is Street Fighter Alpha 2. And some of the decisions that I made, that becomes more apparent as well. My second favorite game being the EX series. All of them. I love Street Fighter EX. The music, the gameplay, Volcano Rosso, all of that. So a lot of my favorite things in fighting games were just what I picked to say, here's what I want. Because Clayface in general, for those who are keen on Street Fighter EX2, the fact that he feels very Volcano Rosso adjacent is very much on purpose. Because he is a love letter to my favorite character from that series. So
what a get. Holy shit.
Yeah. But lately, like I said, I don't really get to play as much fighting games as I used to, and I'm hoping that change because I'm told, as a parent, that at a certain point, your child gets tired of you, and then they want to just do something else, and then they leave you alone. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm told by other parents that that's a thing. When that does, I'll probably get to play more fighting games. So, like, you know, probably. Like, that's kind of the thing. But, yeah, I would like to play more games, but I'm too busy making them. And, like, I can't even say that, oh, well, after this, I'll play more games. Because I have, like, 3 more games in the works, one of which I can't talk about right now. But 2 of which I kind of semi-announced already. So, that, like, I just stay busy for some reason. It's a problem, really.
It's a drive. Let's talk about you. So, what can you say about the ones you can say something about?
So, right before the first version of TMNT Cross Justice League came out, there was a game called Shades of Manhattan 3 that this guy named Sean Altley created the characters for and made the sprite work for. And it's the third iteration of that series, and it was the first one that I was 100% involved with as a battle coordinator. So the combat feels very much up to my standards, and it's very fun to play, whereas the first two were just more story-driven and just doing the best he could with the information he had, because he first and foremost was an artist. So it's kind of rough on the edges. But I kind of made the AI for him in some of those games, and I was supposed to do more, but life got away from me and it just didn't happen. And I said, tell you what, I owe you. So when Shades of Manhattan 3 came around, he was like, hey, you owe me. And I was like, I do. And I was like, tell you what though. I was like, I was actually going to remaster your second game. So I'll just take the gameplay system that I made up for that one and put it on this one. And so that game's getting remastered for the same engine that Cross Justice League Turbo is on. And it's adding a couple new characters. There's going to be more new characters coming because the artist is drawing new ones as we speak, characters that were on the cutting room floor. So that's coming around, and that one's going to ship with rollback. So I'm very happy about that one.
Great.
The best way I can describe it is it's Marvel adjacent. Like, there are chain combos, but the launchers aren't guaranteed to you. They kind of work around, well, you know what? If you join the Discord, which I'll give you the link to, I have a whole channel with all the tech there. There's a lot of tech. There's so much tech that I came up with.
We've thrown out a lot of things. There'll be a laundry list of links in the description below for this video. Absolutely.
And the other one, I don't know if there are any classic PC gamers in the chat, but there's a little game called One Must Fall 2097. It came out in the early 90s. It is a phenomenal game for its time, and it kind of still holds up today. It did a lot of unique things where you could customize your robot, do the colors, add a tournament mode where you can have all these randomized tournament matches. That game is getting remade, and I am spearheading it. And it's already, it's in its rough alpha stages, but I'm going to make sure that every single thing that was present of that game is carried over, and it will also come with rollback. So that's also in the works. The reason I'm doing that is because there's another piece of game called Songo Fighter, and the person who owns the rights to that also owns the rights to this. So it's technically contract work. So he was like, well, you did a great job with this game. I do have the license for this. And I was like, I would love to take a stab at that. I've always wanted to, and I got a friend of mine who knows everything about that game because he's decompiled it. And he's working with me on that. So we've been working together for that. So I'm doing a lot of cool stuff that, again, makes absolutely no sense. But I just am.
But it sounds like you're not dodging cease and desists with these other projects or having to worry about that.
Well, the good news about those is, since the creators are working with me, easier said than done.
Right.
And it's crazy that you mentioned that, even though that TMNT Cross Justice League Turbo almost feels like a licensed title. And that's because I did a stream on this a few months ago, because it almost was. And things kind of fell through. And I went in full detail about what that's about there. But at one point in time, both Paramount and WB were interested in this thing. And stuff happens. Stuff falls apart. It is what it is. But
naturally,
we were very close to being real and avoiding the pitfall of fan games that get C&D. But the good news is they acknowledge it and they don't care, because they're like, well, you're not monetizing it. We're not monetizing it. Let's just pretend we never met. And that's just kind of
you're not taking money off their table, which is all obviously the bottom line for any project like this. If you're not costing them anything and you're not painting anything, it's not like you're watching turtles get decapitated. You're not painting anything in a light that they might feel inappropriate for the IP, and therefore, why the fuck should they care?
Yeah, and you know what? I made very sure that if it were going to be a thing, that it would get a rating no higher than teen. Like, there were times where before an editor got involved, some of the ideas the editor pitched involved things that I was like, that's a little more PG than I want. Like, at the end of the day, yes, TMNT started off as very much a parody and brutal comic book. But at the end of the day, you got to understand who's the massive market share. Like, I don't want to go too far off the edge. So I was like,
That's not the franchise.
Like, yeah, like, and if we do, it has to be turtle pun. So that's why you would hear Michelangelo say, "Get the shell out of here," like stuff like that, where fans are like, okay, yeah. So nothing more crazier than that is pretty much the standard that I imposed on the editor.
Great. My last question for you here is that, like, you've talked a little about what you're working on next. With the success and how, like, well received this game has been, and the amount of amazing talent you guys have been able to bring on for it, have you ever thought of dipping your toes into doing your own IP as a fighting game? You've got the mechanics down. Like,
oh boy, how much time do you have? Yeah,
as much as you got.
I have several original gameplay ideas that I have for things that I like. I even have I literally have lore, I have characters, I have everything involved, but I can't draw, and I do not know how to explain this to people who can, and I do not have the money to make that happen. And that's not really, like, I'm not in the point where I'm like, oh, I'll kickstart it. And it's not really. I'm staying in my lane for right now. Like, I know my limits. I understand there's a lot of amazing indie fighting games coming out right now by a lot of people who took a lot of risks, and I have the utmost respect to them because I'm not there yet. So would I like to? Sure. Like, I have gameplay systems that, like, there was a game that I was going to make that was very near and dear to my heart. That was a crossover of crossovers, to say the least. I decided that it's not going to see the light of day, but it was like going to be my anime style game where the combat is more arc system works kind of deal.
Yeah,
with a mixture
yeah.
of other fun ideas that I had. So the gameplay system is just sitting there, and I've thought about there's spriters that I talk to who are like, man, I would like to make a fighting game, and I'm like, well, if you do, let me know, because I have systems that I'm just sitting on that I can we can work together on this. Like there's this spriter that's a friend of mine named Motoroach who did some sprite work for TMNT Shredder's Revenge, and he's also the select art portrait artist of my game. So if you like those cool looking characters on the select screen, it was drawn by him. He also drew Casey's sprites. He also drew Clayface's sprites. And the fact that Casey is so on model that you wouldn't even know he wasn't in the original game is how good he is.
Everyone you've made up for this has absolutely, like, it fits in. That's what's so crazy about this. Clayface looks like it belongs in this game. He's not in any of these games. But yeah.
This is his first fighting game. It's crazy, right? I don't understand how it took so long. Like, God, you could do literally anything you want with him, and that's kind of what I did. I was like, I'm gonna make him make a sword out of his foot. Let's just go crazy. Let's reference Battletoads with a boot. Let's just do whatever we want. Yes,
exactly. Missed opportunity that you knew to capitalize on. You knew to jump in on that. That's what it is.
And people don't really, well, unless you're in our Discord, people don't really know that Clayface was a choice that he was not the original idea for the next DC character that was going to be added. We flirted with quite a few of them because I wanted to reference characters that have never been in any gaming media before. One of them was almost going to be Darkseid's son, Craven. Pretty sure I just butchered his name, but it was almost him. And his gameplay was going to be a little bit similar, but like stuff like that I wanted to do. But to get back around, yeah, Motoroach wants to make a Sonic fighting game. He has flirted with the idea of it. And I've told him time and time again, when you are ready, we can make this happen. Like, he's wanted to do a Sega crossover in general, and he's so good. But you know, he's in the industry now, so of course he doesn't really have the time. Like, the dude's made it. He's a AAA graphic artist, and I'm so proud of him because I've seen him come up from his beginnings up until now over the last decade or so. So it's like there's so many people who I've seen elevated. Not just because of this game, because I'm not gonna try to have an ego and say, "Oh yeah, you know, because of me." No, I don't really know how he got involved with Shredder's Revenge,
but not because of this game, right? Like you can take your flowers. Take your flowers.
It's possible. Because like a lot of people, when Karai was revealed for Shredder's Revenge, they were like, "Wait a minute," you know, it was like that. She looks very familiar to the Karai that I came up with, and they were like, "It's just a coincidence." And whether that's true or not, I mean, it is what it is. I get it. Like, they're in the industry. even if that wasn't true, which I'm assuming it is true, they can't admit to that. So it's fine.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
That was probably one of the craziest coincidences in quite a while, where I was like, so she has shadow clones, you say? Really? Cool. I did that too. That's cool that we thought the same idea. But
what an interesting coincidence.
Yeah, so there's so many people behind the scenes that, I mean, obviously they're in the credits, that are been involved in this and are now doing real games, and therefore like a lot of their ideas, I kind of had to take a break to the back burner and stuff. But at the end of the day, I love fighting games and I love making them, even though like a part of me is like, is the fighting game market saturated? The other half of me is like, it will be when I'm done. So it's like, I kind of just want to keep doing things. I don't really know why, but it's like, it's an itch that I have where I'm like, what if we had a fighting game about this, where these characters were doing this and it was like that, and I just write it down. So I have like a folder full of design docs spanning back to like 2009 of just ideas that I have for characters to make it work. Like, I decided, for example, like I love Rumblefish 2 as well. Like I got hooked on that the first time I went to MagFest, like about 8 years ago. A friend of mine introduced me to the game, and I love that game so much so that I was like, no one's really done anything with this character. I mean, with this gameplay on Mugen. There was like a guy who tried to make Beatrice a long time ago, but that's all I'm going to say about it. So I was like, I'm going to make this system perfect. There's only one problem. I'm not sure if this game is 3D or not. Turns out it's not. It's funny that it isn't, but it's like I got like a skeletal mesh thing going on. But I was like,
oh, interesting.
I'm going to put this gameplay on Mr. Karate. And no one understood why I did that. I'm not really sure why I did that. But you know what? It works. He's really cool. There's a video on my channel where I show how he works and how every aspect of Rumblefish 2 is applied to him, and it just kind of works. So I have these ideas. Heck, I've made 2 characters that I voice acted. And one of the characters, people were so sure that I did like some sort of editing to it. And I'm like, no, I just literally practiced how to do a second voice for a year before I coded him. Because I really wanted to try, even if it's as corny as it is, I wanted to try. I wanted to see if I could voice act the character. And I really liked the gameplay. I came up with those 2 too. And that was going to be in my anime game that is now kind of done. But like I said, I try to do some of everything. I've made music before. I haven't really got to make a song in almost 10 years now, so I can't really say I'm a musician. But I got into music. I've made RPGs before. Like, I just kind of do stuff and have fun and just have a lot of crazy ideas and no impulse control. So that's kind of where we are.
Well, a one-man band. Is there anything that you can't do? This is it's wild to just keep that.
Can't draw.
Fair enough. Well, you found a lot of good friends to draw for you. It looks like. I said that was the last question. I lied. I do have one more for anyone watching. And like you've kind of described there's a lot of footsteps into the industry that have come through the fan scene. What's a way for someone to get in who wants to learn these things, who wants to dive in and hopefully find a way in the industry?
Considering that I'm not really in the industry, I don't really know. But you know what? There are Discords. Let's say more. Yeah, they're like more getting into the fan, maybe getting into the fan game. I wouldn't say industry so much, but just the community. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, the Mugen community is where I got my start. We was a very quirky group of individuals, and I always tell people Mugen attracts the most interesting people, for better or worse. You know, there are so many stories that's the main reason why I interviewed people who came from when Mugen first started. Just to like, and if you listen to those, like there's like 7 episodes or so, you will hear stories of like the most crazy things that happen over a fighting game engine that also doesn't really do its job. So you kind of have to reverse engineer a lot of stuff. So it just kind of came down to willpower. Like, you know what? I want to do this. I want to make this happen. But today there are so many resources. There's a literal fighting game development Discord full of people who are like making indie games right now. Like, I believe the devs of Pocket Bravery in there, the devs of Murph Fight is in there, and we just chop it up Like I remember when I got invited, and I was surprised at the amount of people who knew of me, because I was like, I thought, for most of my life, and this is no exaggeration, because again, I've been doing this for 17 years. Mugen was a joke, a very funny joke, still is a joke for the most part. But there's now a small carving out of that engine where people were saying, yeah, but you know what? There are some serious games for it. If people who really know what they're doing, who have done the homework, and it plays amazing. Those amount of games can be counted on one hand. But you know what? Yeah. They're good. They're very good. You have the games that I've worked on. You got, of course, you can't have this conversation without mentioning Hyper Dragon Ball Z. All of those kind of things are by passionate people who are willing to do the work with the worst of resources. Like, we took the worst car imaginable and won the Indy 500 out of sheer determination and spite. So for people who want to do this, the only thing stopping you is you. Like, I didn't know, like, this engine is the reason why I do development as a career. I am a senior software engineer by trade. I have been a senior software engineer for 10 years now. I would not have even thought about programming if it was not for Mugen. Like, it drove my career. So it became a part of me. And I guess that's why I continue to do stuff with it, because I'm like, it's second nature to me. This is the air I breathe. If I'm not doing stuff at work, I'm doing stuff with Mugen, Ikemen Go, those two, which Ikemen Go is a fantastic replacement. That's why TMNT Justice League Turbo is able to get away with all of the things it does to look more official, is because I can just kind of do whatever I want, and I'm not used to having that level of power. So that's kind of why I just do whatever. But the engines are out there. You don't even have to do Mugen or Ikemen. You got people who make fighting games and Godot. There are people who make fighting games in Redacted Engine until that company gets their ish together. You have people who make fighting games and, of course, Unreal. So it just comes down to how badly do you want it. And it doesn't matter if you can't draw. There are people who are making games with characters that, like, for all intents and purposes, just look like doodles come to life. But guess what? It slaps. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's fun. And that's also been my design philosophy. Because in one of the other games that I worked on, the inspiration behind it was that the first version of Ikemen didn't work so good. So, like, a lot of stuff just didn't work on the character. So we found out later that you could tech a lot of these combos we were coming up with, but there you couldn't. So there was this guy who edited these Sango Fighter sprites, which is like the Sango Fighter 2 actually, which is of course a DOS game, named General Chicken. He's like dormant. I don't know where he is now, but he kind of just made sprites out of sheer force of will. He rotated them, he Franken-sprited them, he did whatever he needed to get the job done. And you know what? So do I. And I agree. If you want to make a new attack, rotate it 90 degrees. Uh-oh, now it's a brand new thing. Like, it's just crazy the ideas you can get away with. Even like, if you can't do art, you can be creative. And that's been my main design philosophy.
Guys, he develops, he voice acts, he's even a motivational speaker. Give it up for Kamekaze. Thank you so much for being on. Where can people find you and everything, literally everything you're working on?
So my YouTube channel is Claude75. That'll be in the description probably, because you can spell that 50 ways. I don't know why I have that name. It just kind of happened. Of course, there's my main website, Kamekaze.world. There's TMNTXJL.com. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Twitter. I'm not calling it the other thing.
Never. It's a dumb fucking name.
Yeah. So I'm on Discord, obviously. I'm around, and it wasn't until recently that I even revealed what I looked like, because I enjoyed the anonymity of people having no idea what I look like, to the point where people, like, when I finally did show my face, they were like, did you get a body double or something? That's not you. And when they made me a combo breaker, they were like, holy crap, that is you. And I'm like, holy crap, it is me. Why are we holy crapping? Like, so it's something I had to get used to. But I can be found there. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on Twitter, because I really think that Blue Sky is the future. I really like the ideas that they're doing there. But yeah. Of course, obviously, there's the main Twitter account, TMNTTF on Twitter. the graphics guy. I believe he is what's going on Twitter. So we're around. Like, if you follow TMNTXJL hashtag, we're also on FGC Network, which is some other Twitter adjacent. So just follow the hashtag. Just Google it and see where it takes you. That's probably where we are. Is that we try to simplify it a bit.
That's the magic. Follow the hashtag. Get in on it. Like you said, if you want to check out the game, TMNTXJL.com. Download it. I highly suggest checking it out. I'm going to stream it later in the show after this. One more time, Kamekaze, thank you so much for being on the Kaiju Lounge. I really appreciate you hopping on with me. And everyone else, stick around. We will be right back. All right. Bunch of people in the chat, guys. Thank you all for sticking around, hanging out. As mentioned, we're going to go ahead and jump into the game. Yes, Senko, better words cannot be spoken. Kame was a fantastic interview. So cool. Such a world that, like, I'll be honest, I'm an outsider looking in. It's something that I'm so not nearly as familiar with. So it's cool to to pick his brain a little bit and see how it is. So we're gonna go from awesome interview to something incredibly different, because if you came to see high-level one-on-one fighting game action, you came to the wrong place. I've said before, I said again, I enjoy my fighting games. I play them plenty, but I am not all that great at them. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna try out this story mode. I've messed around with arcade. I've tried some characters out, but Kame even said it himself that he loved the little story happening here too. It's great. Kame said himself, like, some of the best way to get into playing is going to the single player modes. So we're gonna do that. I've turned the difficulty down. All right. So, like, try not to judge. And we're gonna go in. We're gonna start from the top here. The full story, Chapter 0. I love that you got the voices in there too. That's all great. Oh, that's a jam right there. Troops, something's definitely off. I love the old school WB style sprites here as well for these. This is fantastic. Superman, long hair, straight out of the 90s. A real, like, I remember the, what was the big one? The death and return of Superman. That was a huge one for me. I remember that happened as a kid, and I was just dumbfounded that they would kill off Superman. And then bring back 4 even more 90s ass looking Superman. That's enough. This conflict here and now. Justice League, advance! Alright, you know who gets no love? Boom, let's try this out. Alright, let's see how I do. See how I do, like a fish out of water here. The good of my people. You and your false kingdom will kneel before me, as I am the true ruler of all. Ready, go! Alright, right, like, it makes sense. Let me check out what am I working with here. Freeze breath, heat vision. These might be Superman's moves. That's fine. We'll find out together. I like that. There we go. See, a little switch up, boom, toss him down. See, I can kind of know what I'm doing a little bit. Oh, that was just those weak ass hits there. Come on, Aquaman. There we go. It's all good. So I'm gonna add to the next update. Ooh, that was from downtown. Boom! Don't jump into that, sir. What do you think you're doing? I like that. I like that move a lot. Oh, come on! Just got my super and everything. Oh, that was great. There we go. I can take him. I can take him. I've almost got this. Boom! I didn't bring up comedy earlier, but the Tekken ass zoom in on the final hit. Oh, love it. Hell, but that. Time to boogie. Oh, Green Arrow, it's always time to boogie. I'm gonna hand it again. Oh. What are you talking about? Dark Seed? It's Side, right? Or is it Seed? This was a Marvel guy growing up. I always throw that off. Anti-life equations in my... Did it again! That means we're screwed! Big time! Perhaps not. Here do we... Nope. It is side. It is side. Okay. Dang. Be dark seed if it was Jewish. I have to stop him. The complicated spelling must be more of an apocalypse thing. It right? Yeah, that's where it always throws me off. Soon the multiverse will be under my heel.
Cooperation is not optional.
I'll remember to tell that to my kid when he gets older. Cooperation is not optional. Bad. I'll never survive the impact. Oh, the song. Fair. Alive. Uh-oh. No way, Batman, is that you? I can just hear Robert Paulson's voice, like, in my head. Okay, I'm assuming I'm Batman.
Ready, go!
Jumping back, command list, there we go. Batarang, dive kick. I can get into that. Okay, okay. Oh, yes. I love that throw. Did I mess it up? Yeah. There we go. Here we go. Okay. Little donkey kicks here. Enough to spam. Oh. Alright, alright, alright. I love the throw there. Keep on his toes. No, you don't you dare. I know you're trying. Yes. Boom, baby. Couple superfluous flips. Batman is on it. It's the real deal. Real deal, Holyfield. I'm not sure yet, but I know this planet is in grave danger, and we don't have time to dawdle. I need a lozenge. Oh, the art. Fantastic. I'll be curious to see how you did, like, the non-cartoony ones, like Armagon and War, in this style. Help. Track down the rest of the team. Beautiful. I feel like Batman and Donnie would get along, right? Two big tech nerds coming together. Batman, you know you got pizza there. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Near the harbor. That makes sense. Let's fight. The dialogue's great. I'm loving this. Alright, I'm taking on... Even enough to make me... Wow. Bat coming in hot. There we go. Boom, already. Oh, that was a grab. There we go. Oh, ooh. Nope, that just took my arms out. There we go. Okay. Let me try this other super. Yes! I won't lie, hitting those is satisfying. That's a Mortal Kombat thing. Just keep hitting him with a low kick. Keep hitting him with a low kick. Batman coming in here like that eventually. And to bring this up, storm mode difficulty increases on its own unless you change it in the options. I did change it in the options because on the default, when I was practicing this out, I was getting whooped so badly. Half circle back any kick. Oh, that makes okay. That's so everyone does have kind of have that. No, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing there. I see. I love that. The throw is good. Yeah, no. I'm sure people would like to see me just like try like a level 8 difficulty, but I can tell you right now that maybe more than 2 rounds of that could be sad. I don't know if I want that proof on the internet. All right, here's the truth. I'm playing this on right now 2 difficulty, and this is how I am. I was not kidding when I said that fighting games are not my forte as much as I love them. Happy to talk about it, but you will not. No, you don't. Ugh. God, yes. Oh. I think I need a cigarette after that. That was fantastic. Yeah, if I must. Oh, I tried. I did pop into Dimension X, and like, wow, yeah. I guess I could have guessed, but holy crap! But maybe I'll get there. You know, it's all about practice. I'm already feeling better with Batman, at least. There we go. Oh. Ah, yes. Nope, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. Thank you, Senko. I appreciate that. There we go. And who knows? I probably could take a better advantage of that. Oh. Low kick. Low kick. Yeah, and like, look, it is about practice. Part of what has always been hard for me with fighting games, I recognize to get good, it's good to like stick with one person, but I want to play everybody all the time. I just like to switch it up. Like a jack of all trades, if you will. Oh, lead. Prepare to back me up. There you go, Leo. I can let the rip curl dance a little bit. There we go. Take every fight seriously. Time is at a premium right now. Let's go. Oh. It's a useless superpower, but gosh, Aquaman's pretty. Oh, like, yeah, like Thor. Might not be all there. Bonehead. Guys, focus. That's my old school Leo impression. Very different. Wow, calling him by his full government. That's messed up, Batman. Come on now. You're just gonna throw all that out there in public? Just saying. Secret identities for a reason, guys. They're old friends. Come on. Wow. Don't trust Batman? Oh. Kame, the music in this. Oh, see, I grew up a Donnie guy. I grew up a Michelangelo guy, but in my older age, I'm absolutely a Donnie. Command list. Pizza roll. Let me see that pizza roll. Water spray. Okay, okay. Oh. Oh, that was fun. But that's not, I don't enjoy that nearly as much. Okay. Wow. Whew. Okay, okay. Oh, I love that it moves. There we go. Yeah. Oh, for multiple hits too. Okay, I like that. I'm starting abusing that more. The problem is, I hated that it happened to me, but that was awesome. I did not think that would hit. Nope. Oh. Do I got this? Do I got this? Oh god. Oh no. Oh my god. I did not think I had that. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Kame. I absolutely pulled that out of my ass. We need to find the rest of the team, and soon. And you know what? I did it on purpose. Absolutely did it on purpose. 1000%. Thank you both. You know, it's my natural elite skill coming into play. It's more likely Wally. How fast are we talking? There we go. The band's coming together, guys. Is he okay? Okay. He's a little slow to react. That's ironic. I love this. You know what happens? You black out in the middle of a game. It just comes to you. It's like something else. It's a real out-of-body experience when I play. I'm going to wake up in a half hour and I remember that this happened. I think Batman said we don't have enough. I'm watching. I'm both watching, like reading and trying to move through fast. This is Wally. Great, getting Ollie back. Again, nobody using code names. We're all just throwing our full government out there for the world to hear. Can you give me your socials too? There it is. Whew. All right, Wally. Not Wally, Ollie. Wally and Ollie. Oh, that's confusing. I never even thought about that. Let me get closer. I appreciate that Flash wasn't immediately like, fuck you, I'm gonna fight you. Right? Yes, Raph. Oh, I know. I love that. I love that idea. Okay. That was great with Donnie. Again, never want to play the same person twice. Let's Mikey was my first love. And not that I'm doing great with it, I'll use all the, oh, he's got some stuff going on here. Okay. Punch, I see. Let's Green Arrow. Oh. Oh, I think it has it on the wrong person. Okay, we'll find out. We'll find out together. Oh, wow. Bit of an explosion there. Nope, nope. Okay. God, give me that error. Dope. Okay. Okay, I hate Ollie. All right, back. Okay. Oh man. Well, that.
Green Arrow win.
Oh, you said okay.
Continue.
I'm always going to continue back to front, down to up. Okay. Then half course. Okay. Oh, it just switched me to Leo. Okay, it's all good. Because now I have Leo's moves. Punch, rotocutter, endless screw. Okay. That. Nope. Oh, I love that. About to abuse the hell out of that one. Yeah, there we go. Switch ups. Coming in. Nope. Oh, dumb ice arrows. Little juggling there. All right. I like Leo. All right. Oh, damn you. He's got his Omega too. Jerk. All right. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go.
Leonardo win.
All right. Luck. I think luck was a little bit on my side in that one. I won't lie. Dude, we're ninjas. I mean, that's valid. They are for real, sir. Darkseid is convinced the anti-life equation is in this dimension. It's dark. Just a little crane. Little crane there. You gotta... You always sweep the leg. Sweeping the leg is the Blue Eyes white dragon of fighting games, I think. It cannot be stopped. Great. Just look at the next one. In Crete, the gang is going to Greece. Leave as one. I love that. Just fully. Just this large group of people who stand out in a crowd. Cyberpunk. Yeah. What are your intentions, Wonder Woman? Yeah. Gotta get over this cough. I love it. I love it. This just feels, the vibe is spot on, you know? We should go to her. The more familiar faces, the better. I just feel he talks like an old school superhero. Strange to hear. Wonder Woman looking real sassy. Hands on the hips. All right. Just Diana is fine. Y'all. Mikey's in love. Old Gal Gadot up in here. All right. Let's do Raphael's little turtle I haven't done yet. Wow. Oh, it's all right. So it's all good. So it does not get in the way of my enjoyment, but I'll say it seems like if you get to pick your character, the options are all based off of whoever the first person in that group is. Wow, Wonder Woman. All right. There we go. There. Ooh, back off. Oh my God. How did I do that? I had that one move. Oh, nope. Oh. Yeah, I love that. As an E-Honda player back in the day, I could respect that. Though I ate that one pretty. That's my own damn fault. Ah. Dag nabbit. It's gonna move me back to Leo. I think it's gonna move back to Leo when I continue. Yeah. Yeah, don't. I think I'm best with Donnie because I had that one really good match there. Yeah, there we. Oh, I like that. Come on, come on. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna be real mean about that. Ready to be obnoxious? 'Cause I can be obnoxious. Oh, damn, I really wanted that. Real high risk, high reward there. Throw that. Alright. Another throw. There we go. Oh God. No, I almost have her. Oh my God. She's getting me every time with this. Dag nabbit. Guys, I'm looking at the time. I'm just gonna hit no on this one because I think our time for the show has run dry. We're gonna go ahead up. I'm gonna X out of that. I'm gonna come back to my main page here. We're gonna X out of that. I just want to say again, thank you everybody for being part of the stream. Probably the largest crowd yet, and I think that's in no small feat. Thanks to the one, the only Kamekaze for hopping on the show, for giving such a great interview. Guys, if you like this, I highly suggest please like and subscribe on the video. It of course helps me out. We've only just started this little weird late night talk show, and you know what? It's a blast. Gaming needs to be a little bit silly, and that's all I'm trying to bring to it. Some final notes here. If you're in the New York area, that is where I am, on Tuesday, October 17th, I will be hosting the world's greatest gamer tournament. Tagline, the only game that matters. It is the only tournament where every round is a different, I lost my camera there. Every round is a different game as decided by the wheel of gaming. 1 second you could be playing Street Fighter, the next you could be playing Uniracers, followed by Peggle. It is random, it is insane, and it is a ton of fun. $5 to enter, $100 for the grand prize winner. It's 8 p.m. Tuesday, October 17th at Wonderville in Brooklyn. We'll be doing more of these soon, so if you're not able to make that one, we will have others, but that is the upcoming one. I will also be at Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, so if you're around, see me around. This hair is hard to miss. Just come by and say hi. Otherwise, we air the Kaiju Lounge every Monday night, with the videos going live VOD all throughout the rest of the week. I'm also on Twitch. I try to be on Twitch every Thursday. Catch you over there, Boss Monster Kaiju. Catch me on Twitter, Boss Monster Kaiju. Catch me on Instagram, Boss Monster Kaiju. It's an ongoing thing. It's easy enough to find me. One more time, I gotta say, Kamekaze, thank you for being on the show. Thank all of you for being in the chat and watching. And until next time, stay cool, stay hip, stay heavy. Good night.